Hey guys, and welcome to Film Study, where we analyze films in various ways to make you see it in a different concept, and change a part of a scene and figure out how the rest of the story would play out based on a single change in one scene.
Alright, quiet on the set.
Production.
From 2008 to 2015, the Tinkerbell franchise has been truly successful, making $192 million with all the films and sequels released. However, if you subtract the budget that it took to make all of these films, it was only about $23 million, not including the budget for The Legend of the Neverbeast, which actually was never released to the public. Over the course of 6 films, that isn't a lot. With the development of the last film, Legend of the Neverbeast, they tested the waters with theaters and released theatrically in selected markets, including the UK on December 12, 2014. In the US, it had a limited theatrical release. The film had a rating of 75% based on 20 reviews, with an average rating of 5.5 out of 10. Metacritic reports a 52 out of 100 rating based on 5 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews, with one saying slick but shamelessly derogative, and others like Tinkerbell and The Legend of the Neverbeast is completely executed without being technically groundbreaking. This installment was about when the compassionate animal fairy Fawn befriends the sleepy furry giant called the Neverbeast, persuading Queen Clarion and the vigilant scout fairies of its kindness is easier said than done. As to why the film series was cancelled, it was all about money. An interview with the Tinkerbell team revealed as much. They told us the middle of last week that they won't be making Tinkerbell 7 and number 8. The main issue was the films weren't released theatrically. It came out of the blue, really. We were working on number 7 and the production told us it was being shut down. The manager I talked to said sales of DVDs had slowed down and the merchandise wasn't selling as strongly as they wanted. The events that followed the release of the film was the fall of Disney Toons, which was a separate studio that was responsible for creating sequels to Disney films like Return of Jafar and an extremely goofy movie. In June of 2018, the studio closed. The film that was cancelled in 2015 had the title Tinkerbell and the Unknown Season. There's no real information on this, so it's hard to figure out what this story could have been. Looking back to Tinkerbell and the Secret of the Wings, we get introduced to the world of snow and their version of fairies, as the other seasons of fairies are used to hot, normal temperatures and not being exposed to ice, which can lead to them never flying again with a broken wing. This unknown season was possibly something along the lines of a new season that the writers made up that was a mix of reality and fantasy. As far as weather conditions, my best guess was it was a season that made nature react very differently or in an unnatural way that you would think, like black flowers or some sort of special ability. The potential of this idea, though, would have been very good if done properly in a way that made sense. This could have also been a reason that they scrapped it because there were complications with the story. Nonetheless, this is a film that we will never get to see. However, there is word that a live-action version is in the works. On their IMDb page, it doesn't give any information other than some cast members and a 2025 release date. It lists writers like Morty Noxon and Elizabeth Shapiro. An article coming from the Disney Insider back in September 2021 gives a little bit more insight into what this movie will be about, saying, quote, "The unofficial synopsis states that after Peter becomes gravely injured, Tink makes a deal with the head fairy to save his life. This results in Peter staying a 9-year-old forever and her losing her voice. The story doesn't end there though. After Peter meets Wendy, Tink becomes incredibly jealous. However, when Hook kidnaps Peter, she and Wendy must team up to save him before it's too late." But what are your thoughts on this? Do you miss the animated version of these films? And do you think some other company would jump in, buy the rights, and continue the legacy of these films? Because even though this franchise didn't make hundreds of millions off a single film, it was still a good franchise. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.